Speaking of our theme today, the Treating Yourself Expo and glass and everything else, Marco Renda's on the line. Hey, Marco.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. I'm just going to balance your mic out a little bit here. But yeah, good to have you on the show again, Marco. You were on last week.
Yeah, it's great being on.
And of course...
Feeling like a celebrity here.
And yeah, now, of course, in between those episodes, we did have the Treating Yourself Expo. And how did it go, Marco? I was there. It was awesome. It was fucking huge. We broadcast 14 hours. How was it from your perspective?
Well, we broke attendance records for every single day, so it went really well. I'm really happy, and I'm happy the way everything went. The whole vibe all the way around was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was definitely packed. What were the final numbers?
I think we hit it between 15 and 18. I don't have the exact numbers because I haven't had a chance to sit down with my show manager to go over the gate receipts and everything. But I know it's between 15 and 18,000 just based on the ticket sales on a daily, because each day we beat the previous year's records.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah, and you said you sold $42,000 worth of advanced ticket sales, and that was doubling last year's of $20,000.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, it's going quite well, and actually what I was very surprised to see is all the people coming from out of town, like the Americans from Denver, from Cali, from all over Florida and Illinois. It was. I don't know if us Canadians were outnumbered by Americans.
Yeah, there were a lot of people from everywhere there, and definitely a lot of people from the States. Yeah, I did talk to a lot of people who had come from all over the place, like people coming from pretty far, too, not just the states that border Canada, either.
Yeah, like Japan.
Well, Marco, let's talk about some of the glass stuff. You mentioned Japan. You had a glass blowing competition this year that was totally awesome. Like last year you had the glass blowers as well, doing demos and stuff, and you had them putting pieces together. This year it was a little bit more opened up. You could kind of see the glass from everywhere, and it was totally fantastic to see these guys working on their stuff. And of course, they came up with some pretty crazy stuff at the end, and these Japanese glass blowers are the ones who won. Tell us a bit about basically the glass theme of this year's Expo.
Well, Team Japan did win, but it was, let's face it, all teams won. Those who got to watch won, because it was all around a great time was had by all. All the glass blowers that participated, got together on stage, and it was just camaraderie, all around. It's something that hasn't been done, and especially here in Canada, and it's just spawned many friendships. The Japanese team are going to be coming back next year. We are working on an American team and another. We're not sure if it's going to be another Canadian team or a mixture of glass blowers putting together their own team. The whole vibe of the glass was to show people what can be done. Last year it was very difficult of how the whole setup was. It's very tight. So with this year and how I put the stage, and as you saw, it was open on all sides. In addition to, we had TVs there showing people what's going on. So like the flame workers were getting filmed, and it was being broadcast on a TV screen. So even if they couldn't see from where they were sitting, they could see it, the TV screen, and they would be able to watch it from there.
Right, yeah, it was quite open this year, and we were in our little corner on the side of the glass blowing area in the Cannabis Culture and Pot TV booth. I think we had the perfect spot for it, actually. Thank you very much, Marco, for donating.
I think you were right in front of Team USA.
Yeah, we were just to the side, right off the side of Team USA. And Marco, you actually donated a portion of that booth to us this year, which was really nice of you. You always give booths out for free to activists as part of Activist Alley.
Well, I try and do my part. Most, as you know, activists don't have money to pay to be in events, and because they're not charities, so they're not being given, discounted booth space. So venue is, top world class. The event is, top notch. So why not, have those who work day in, day out to try and push towards legalization in the show?
Yeah, no, it's great, and everybody was there this year. And actually, some of the speakers that spoke there, you had the Normal Women's Alliance giving a panel discussion, and Julia Rose was there, and Dr. Hornby gave a speech as well. There were some other speakers.
Yeah, we had Don Conroy speaking as well.
Right, Dr. Courtney as well.
Yeah, and Dr. Courtney, it's very broad. We had the retired judge in the lead booth, speaking to people. And listen, what everyone is seeing now is that all the cultures are coming together. The activists are coming together. The various cultures are coming. The growers are getting together in the event. Like I said, the hydroponic industry was there, but this year the glass was just phenomenal. It just blew the whole thing out of the water. And next year I think it's going to be bigger and better. And I'm going to start all over from starting tomorrow with the opening of my shop, a new glass art gallery.
Right, so Marco, I wanted to ask you about that as well. But before we get into the second part about the glass, there was also the 4,200-foot vapor lounge that you had this year at the Treating Yourself Expo, and that was a place where people could go in and try some of the newer vaporizers. The Verdamper was there, the Ruhr vaporizer, the Herbal Air guy was there, and he's always interesting, slamming the Herbal Air around and smashing it, and it won't break at all, and turning it back on again. I got to give the shouts out to the Herbal Air guys. Those guys beat those devices, and they work pretty well. So.
Yeah, and the Roar, the Volcano, but most importantly is what's going on in the industry, what's new in the industry now, in our culture now, is the dabbing. And, the electric nails is here, and it's here to stay. And we had the Sublimator there, and then we had the Temple was there with their version. And you know what? This industry is only going to get bigger and broader. And the revenue, the tax revenue that it's going to be generating for the government, there's no way they're going to be able to keep, keeping us back.
Right. Marco, there was a couple questions. One question that I had from a couple people, including Al the Alchemist, who is actually sitting here with me. But we spoke earlier on the show about this question, and actually somebody mentioned this to me before about actually being able to vaporize throughout the whole entire expo. And they wondered why was there a specific vapor lounge? Why weren't people allowed to just vaporize anywhere if it's a government building and if it's not illegal?
That's a great question. It's something that I deal with on every year. I keep trying to have the whole expo to be other vendors to be able to vaporize in their booth. And it's the MTCC. They're just blatant of saying no. They're making us make sure that it's people with legitimate medical illnesses that are using the lounge. One year when we let everybody in there, we got into trouble with the MTCC. It's being really stringent. Listen, I own and operate a lounge. I don't have anybody over the age of 18 in, and that's what I would want to have. At the convention center to be able to allow everybody to use, but that's not the case. The MTCC want to have it, in one section, and as you see, security right on top of it.
Right. And when you say the MTCC, that's the Metro Toronto Convention Center. That's the people that are actually renting you the space. And so, Marco, did they give you any other trouble besides the Vapor Lounge stuff? Did the Convention Center have any other problems?
Well, this year, we had two vendors, as you saw, doing the painted the girls and stuff, and there was a few complaints of that, and just some complaints on the music being too loud. But overall, there was really nothing. We did have 3 squad cars come and said that there was a complaint that someone was selling cannabis to children. And my show manager, Jim Small, number one, you have to be over 16 to get in. There are no children in there. And if there was any children, they were with their parents. So I highly doubt there was any cannabis sales being made to children.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Al, did you want to say something?
Yeah,
Al, the Alchemist is here, Marco. He had a question for you.
How's it going, Marco? I just wanted to congratulate you on having Canada's first international cannabis event. And second, I'm just wondering, like, I understand the contractual obligations you have with the Toronto Convention Centre and stuff, but would it make a difference if somebody that was not affiliated with you decided to vaporize outside of the Vapor Lounge and challenge them independently?
I don't know if you heard that,
Yeah.
Marco.
I heard about it. Would it be an issue if it was a vendor and they were caught?
Yeah,
We had that issue a couple of years ago, and it pretty much if we don't get on top of it and look after the situation, they will shut down the show and not allow it the following year.
Well, we don't want that to happen, and I guess sometimes we gotta swallow a little bit of bullshit when you're pushing the envelope. But
You choose your battles, right?
yeah, for sure. Now, another thing I wanted to say is the big butter craze and the big dab craze. There's something people should be doing when they're making butter, and it doesn't matter how many times they vac purge it and stuff. And the one thing people should do after they make really, really nice butter is take some ethanol, put your butter back in the ethanol, stick it in the freezer, and then filter it, because that's a process called winterization. And what happens is it filters out even more things. A friend of mine just made a very nice refined product, 11 grams, winterized it, and lost just over half of its weight in further impurities that people don't realize are in their butter. So if you are going to make a refined product, I think people should be learning further steps. And I'm just wondering if that's something you're working towards next year, is educating people on how to make proper solvent extracts, because it is a big thing. And let's face it, there's a lot of Tide pads being sold, a lot of e-nails being sold, but there's zero education being sold.
Right. Marco, and maybe this is even a larger question that kind of fits in with the question that I had, that this whole, the new explosion in glass that's happening now, and this interest in glass that, is happening more than we've ever seen before right now, is that partially because of this whole dab craze? And is there, an added responsibility for us as providers to educate people about how to actually use that stuff properly when it comes to dabs?
Oh, most definitely. I'll give you a great example. 2 years ago, when I was in Spain at Cannabis, the Spaniards, there was no such thing as glass. This year, when I went to Cannabis, there was glass all over. It was rigs. It was, butter dabs being done all over the event. So is glass exploding because of this butter fate? Yeah, I'd say it has a lot to do with it. But in the same token, treating yourself has always been adamant about, promoting respectable, responsible use. If you look at the articles we did have articles about making oil and how to properly make it. Just like, we're totally against using toxic chemicals or solvents to make the oil and call it medicine. When I'm talking about dabbing, I'm not saying dabbing as medicine. I'm just saying dabbing on a recreational or social use. There's unless you have organic matter and you're using CO2 extraction, because you're not using a toxic solvent, okay? As long as you're using non-toxic solvents to do your extractions, that's when you call it medicine. If you're using any kind of toxic solvents, you can't be calling it medicine. Plain and simple.
Right, and Marco, that's another question we kind of had when we were talking about was some of the strains that were entered in the competition, and you know, and that have been entered in not just the Treating Yourself competition, but the Kush Cup and other competitions. One of those strains is the Chocolope. And there's a lot of us, just because of the flavor of the Chocolope itself. I mean, I don't know what you think, and you've had the Chocolope, and I've had the Chocolope, but to me, that tastes like it's being sprayed with something. That
Yeah, you know what? When it was, and I did the exact same thing when it was entered, and they swore up and down there was no spray. And all you got to do is you break it up, you smoke it, you look at the ash. You could tell if there's anything there. And if you're rolling in a joint and anything sprayed, if you look at some of the stuff that they're spraying on, now if it's sprayed, it's not going to burn, or if it does burn, it's going to go black.
Right. Hold on a sec.
So I'm just wondering, like,
Got a question from Al.
when one puts on an event and is providing all of these strains to be publicly judged, where does somebody draw the line as far as getting entries? Like, do you just take somebody's word, or should you not have all of those things tested before you give them to the public to see what, and not for cannabinoids, not for THC profiles, but for systemic pesticides, systemic fungicides, pathogens that might not be able to be identified by the human eye. There could be pythium on there that you might not see. There could be powdery mildew that somebody might not catch because of clever manicuring. There's all sorts of things, flavoring agents. I'm just wondering if so many people in the public are going to be subjected to weed just on somebody's word. Where does somebody, like, when does somebody step up to the plate and take responsibility?
Yes.
Well, you know, we would need to have access to laboratories to be doing all that. And you know, I agree. You have to, you know, to be a proper medical cup, everything should be all tested and such. But again, like, how? You know, where's the feasibility to be doing it? I've tried, even like this year, trying to get Steve Hill back. They said they were coming back, and then they didn't come back. And, you know, Dr. Paul Hornby was going to try and get, but they're not testing, when they're coming to the show, they're not testing for, you know, contaminants and such like that. They're testing for, you know, the cannabinoids and THC, and that's all they test. Which, you know, that's why we need proper access to laboratories, true laboratories, to be able to do testing of everything. That's one. The other issue is to get all these people who are growing and submitting the samples to get it in on time. It's like pulling teeth to get everybody to meet the deadlines.
Right.
It really is.
And in a way,
it's not as easy as people think. You know, it takes a year of planning, and you know, the last 3 weeks you're still scrambling to get everything put together.
Right.
Actually, you're scrambling at the last minute to still get things put together at times.
Yeah, and you kind of, you know, you take a risk. And the people that are going into it, they kind of know what the risk is. They know that this pot is, and maybe Marco, that's something. Maybe that's something that you should warn against. That
the laymen are looking at the weed that's there as the best weed in Canada, North America, the world.
right.
Looking at it as the highest of high. And you saw.
But it's always buyer beware when it comes to weed, though.
You saw yourself on my show when I passed you the blue sky nug and the katsu nug.
Yeah.
Was there anything of that quality there? You had to say no.
Well, no, I definitely think that there's a better weed than there was at the TY Expo, and
At any cup.
at any cup for sure. There's always better weed out there.
But that's my point. So if the people that are entering aren't held accountable,
Right. Well,
it
and
shouldn't be up to the cup holder. It should be up to the entry.
and so Marco, do you think there is an argument for more stringent regulations when it comes to the entries themselves?
Well,
I mean, is that something that's even feasible at all?
it's not even feasible. How do you make it feasible?
Well, I guess you'd have to.
Unless you have your own laboratory access, you know, and that every grower sends their samples in on time. You know, like there's just I don't know how it could be really feasible to do it. Like,
I kind of
you
say
really
buyer
need
beware, or
a whole
you know, smoker
organization
beware.
to, you know, to make it work.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at cost factor. What's the cost it like that. Like, how much is a judge willing to spend to be a judge?
Yeah, and how expensive, the chat's asking, how expensive is lab testing? It's insanely expensive, isn't it?
Well, Steve Hill was charging me between $50 and $75 per sample.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve Hill, and that was just for THC and... Yeah, that's not what... Right. Yeah, if you want to get tested for pesticides and everything else. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, hey, and I guess in a way it's kind of trusting the people who are putting the entries in as well, because eventually, I mean, everybody that put entries in, you know who they are after the fact, don't you? Everybody gets exposed as to what the entries were.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
and the next issue, treating yourself, everybody will know who entered what, what the baggies were, what the container was.
Right. Exactly. And so you had 19 strains this year, right?
Yeah,
19.
We made 20 containers just in case, because last year we had 21. We had 21 entries.
Right. And Marco, I wanted to quickly ask you though about your new glass gallery that you're opening. This is something that's actually opening tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It opens tomorrow.
And where does it open, and what's it called?
Not Just Marble.
It's called Not Just Marbles.
Yeah.
And so tell us about
It's right next door to the Vapor Lounge.
It's right next door to Vape on the Lake?
Yeah, right next door to Vape on the Lake.
Awesome.
And it's great because we had the artist meet and greet, on the Thursday before the show, and then we had a surprise birthday party for Jack Anshaw in the lounge right afterwards. So it worked out perfect. And what a better way? You go to a glass art gallery, you buy yourself a nice piece of glass art, and then you go upstairs or next door, however you want to look at it, and break it in.
Exactly.
Or christen it.
Well, and Marco, this concept of Not Just Marbles, can you explain what that means or what that's about? What's the whole marble glass art trend about?
Well, okay, Not Just Marbles basically is this, is that we're a glass art gallery. We have everything that's related to glass. We have millies, we have pendants, we have sculptures, marbles, glass spheres, we have functional glass art. We have everything glass related. There's no papers, there's no grinders, there's no vaporizers. It's a true glass art gallery.
So it should kind of be called Not Just Bongs. Out here, thanks, Al.
Well, everybody has been looking and seeing me buying marbles, and when you walk into the gallery, you'll see an island of marbles. So, but then you turn to the right, and it's your functional glass art. So and if you look at our logo, it's a marble and then a bong, and it's a small bong in the right-hand side.
Very cool. And yeah, when I was at the TY Expo, I had a chance to look at some of the marbles that were there. There was quite a large display of some of the art that you guys will have in your gallery, I guess. And man, there's some beautiful pieces of work that aren't, not just functional stuff, but just stuff that, it'd be nice to have in your house. It's some beautiful art. Time and work goes into this stuff.
And you'd be surprised at what some of these marbles go for. There was 5. The Team Japan made 5 marbles, and they brought it to Toronto just for the expo, and they sold all of them.
Yeah.
All gone. And those will be retailing for around $12,000.
Each.
Each.
Wow. So, Marco, the piece that actually won the competition, the Japanese piece with all the little crazy dots in it, I have Al the Alchemist here. He wants to know if it's available for purchase.
No. Sorry. I have that in the practice cup. I was offered $30,000 for it, and I had to turn it down.
Wow.
My contract obligations, and this basically says, I don't sell any of the pieces that are made from the show, but I can set up a deal get something similar, Team Japan will be more than happy to make one. I know they have three shops now that are putting orders for the set.
Right, that final piece they made was so intricate. I just can't believe they were able to do that in such a short amount of time. Yeah. I thought for sure it was going to be Godzilla. Well, so yeah, Al, so you hear that? They can make you one if you want one, but he's not allowed to get rid of the piece. So, and Marco, what do you...
You can come to Toronto and use it as long as I'm around.
And so, is it in the... You actually have it available at Vape on the Lake then?
Yeah, we've been hitting it every day.
Nice, that's fantastic. So come on down to Vape on the Lake to hit that glorious piece, I guess, then. Okay.
And whoever comes down to the Not Just Marbles Glass Art Gallery opening tomorrow will be invited to come upstairs and hit the piece as well. If if they're a dabber.
Yeah, and there were a couple other pieces there too. There was the Emerald City piece by Team USA, which I really liked. Yeah, that one was fantastic.
Yeah, that was with the plasma. That is something else. That is something to see. And also what Team Canada put together. You know, actually all three teams did a phenomenal job. And you know, they all need to be given a round of applause, like I said. And I really look forward to next year because I think next year Team Japan is going to have its work cut out for them.
Yeah, I think so too. Everybody's gonna be like trying to one up them now. That's the way it works. Everybody's got to edge up. Everybody's got to get on their game, and it gets better and better and better. Cool, Marco. Well,
that's for sure.
I really appreciate having you on the show again. You coming on like this, and we'll keep in touch about how everything's going with all of your projects. Now, I obviously the planning for TY 2014 must have started already. That's what you said to me last couple of years. You got started the week after, virtually.
Yeah, we already have vendors that have booked their space and signed checks, and we already have sponsors for next year. And I can tell you this, that the glass area will be bigger and better.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying, how the hell are you going to top this? But I will.
So excited, Marco.
Yeah, that's Jody. Jody says she's excited.
Mark will join us and see it for himself.
Yeah, maybe Mark will be out of prison by then, and he can come and check it out for himself. Marco,
yeah, that would be nice to have Mark and Jody together at the expo next year.
Yeah. Well, now Marco, are you coming out for the Vancouver Health Expo?
I am going to be trying to come out for that. That's at the end of this month, is it not?
Yeah, that's just before the end of the month. I think it's June 27th to 31st or something like that. Yeah, it's at the end of June. Just right before.
And then the glass gathering is the following week, is it not?
Yep, and then the glass gathering, and in fact, it's funny you mentioned that. Redbeard is going to join us on the program. Redbeard doesn't have internet, so we were going to pipe him in on Skype in the background here. I would have brought him in while we were still talking to you, Marco, but now we have to call him. Unfortunately, he's just got his telephone. Yeah, his internet's not functioning properly or something. So, yeah, but the glass gathering, you're going to be here for that as well then?
Oh, for sure. Glass Culture Magazine and Junior South Expo is one of the sponsors.
Excellent. That's fantastic.
And we're also going to be sponsoring the Kush Cup, so, you know, we all have to work together and support one another. So you guys from the West Coast come out here to the East Coast, and us the East Coast going to have to come out to the West Coast. That's
right, man. That's how it's done. Well, thanks a lot, Marco. We'll see you soon then. I'm going to be at the glass gathering this year too, I hope. I'm sure. I've got it all set up, so unless there's some disaster, I'll be there. And, yeah, so it should be fun. And I guess we'll see you soon when you get to town, Marco.
Okay, take care.
All right, thanks for coming on. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.